Pragmata runs 4 different ways on PlayStation, and the gap between modes is bigger than anyone's telling you. Left, base PS5, right, PS5 Pro. Same game, same scene, widely different results. Every mode measured at 4K, here's what you actually get. Pragmata dropped on April 17th, Capcom's biggest PS5 Pro showcase. If you're on base PS5, you've got 2 modes to choose from: prioritize frame rate and prioritize resolution. On PS5 Pro, you've got default 60 FPS mode, which is high frame rate off, and a high frame rate on with the potential to go up to 120 FPS. I spent the whole day testing all 4 modes, 20 minutes of prologue on each mode, the clips of first boss fight on each mode to see the FPS in all 4 modes. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which mode to pick for your console, and whether that high frame rate toggle is worth turning on. Let's get into it. This is a prologue section, where you have to kill 3 walkers for game tutorial. Here we have base PS5 frame rate mode on the left side, and resolution mode on the right side. So in combat areas like this, frame rate mode averages 57 FPS through this sequence. On the other hand, resolution mode at about 46 FPS. Watch the pattern. Frame rate mode stays close to 60 FPS, resolution mode never cracks 50 FPS. That's about 11 FPS you're giving up constantly. Now watch what happens when the game actually demands hardware. Let's look at the boss fight. Frame rate mode drops to 55 FPS average, resolution mode 44, peak at 49 FPS, but never crosses 50 FPS. So on base PS5 or PS5 Slim, frame rate mode is the pick. It's not locked 60 FPS, but it's the best you're getting. Resolution mode costs you about 11 to 10 FPS constantly. For ray tracing, you'll barely notice during gameplay. Now, the PS5 Pro side. Unlike base PS5, you don't pick between frame rate or resolution. PS5 Pro gives you 4K with PSSR2 upscaling, ray tracing, and 60 FPS target, plus a high frame rate toggle on top. Same scenes side by side, base PS5 on left, Pro on the right. Image quality jump is the story here. Base PS5 has visible shimmering, aliasing on edges, and fine detail. PS5 Pro cleans all of that through PSSR2 reconstruction. And then there's Diana's hairs. This isn't traditional hair cards. It's RE Engine strand-based hair system, where each strand is rendered and simulated with physics. Capcom originally built this for shorter hair in Resident Evil 4 Remake back in 2023. For Pragmata, they had to upgrade it. Diana's long flowing hair needed simulation the engine couldn't handle before, and it pushed their hair system beyond its previous limitations. You can see the difference in motion. Base PS5 handles it too, same strand system, same physics, but PS5 Pro resolves the fine detail more cleanly thanks to PSSR2. And that's what you're watching right now. PSSR2 isn't flawless though. I spotted a ghosting artifact on metal grating in low light scenes, visible on both PS5 Pro modes and on base PS5 resolution mode. Base PS5 frame rate mode was the only one that didn't show it. Could be the different render resolution, could be a different upscaler chain. Hard to say without documentation from Capcom. But the artifact is real and reproducible on repeating pattern in dim scenes. Now the real question is the PS5 Pro worth it for Pragmata? This is PS5 Pro default mode with high frame rate off compared to base PS5 frame rate mode. The boss fight is where PS5 Pro shines. Now in the first boss fight, PS5 Pro HFR off hit 60 FPS for 91% of the fight. Full PSSR2, full ray tracing effectively locked at 60 FPS throughout. Remember, the base PS5 hit 60 FPS for 0% of the same fight. 0. That's your PS5 Pro upgrade right there. Now high frame rate toggle in settings needs a 120Hz display with variable refresh rate. Same boss fight, high frame rate on, the average jumps to 77 FPS, that's about 29% more frames than the default option. You feel that in exploration, but the range runs from 55 to 84 FPS. Not a locked number, you gain smoothness, but you trade off frame pace consistency. One more thing to note here, it never reaches 120 FPS, not once in anything I tested. The 120 FPS in high frame rate toggle on is a ceiling, not a target. Here's every mode, both scenarios head to head. Base PS5 resolution mode, 46 FPS in the prologue, 44 in the boss fight. Never hit 60 FPS in either. PS5 Pro on the other hand, default mode 59 FPS in prologue, 60 FPS in boss fight, at target 82% of the time during exploration, 91% in combat. High frame rate on, 83 FPS average in exploration, 77 FPS in fight, 29% more frames than default. Frame rate mode, 57 FPS in exploration, 55 in combat. It hits 60 a third of the time during prologue, 0% in the fight. Here's what to take away. If you're on base PS5 or PS5 Slim, pick prioritize frame rate. Resolution mode averages 11 FPS lower. Constantly for ray tracing you won't even notice during gameplay. Frame rate mode isn't locked 60 FPS, but it's the best you're going to get on that hardware. If you're on PS5 Pro, default mode with high frame rate off is the showcase. 91% at 60 FPS in the boss fight, full PSSR 2, full ray tracing on. This is the cleanest Pragmata experience you can get. Now, should you turn on high frame rate mode on? Only if you have 120Hz display with variable refresh rate. You get 29% more frames and you feel it in exploration. But if you're playing on a regular 60Hz TV, leave it off, you'll lose the 60 FPS and gain nothing your display can show. Next, Saurus drops April 28th, locked 60 FPS on PS5 and PS5 Pro, no mods, no toggles. I will measure whether it actually holds their target and what the PS5 Pro upgrade is really worth it. If you found this video useful, please subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.